Today's tutorial is going to be for the Heartbreaker. This is a K.Azcona Designs pattern, and I'm actually going to be doing a cut and sew version made with pebbled vinyl. This cut and sew comes from K&A Custom Fabrics. Now this is the Luna version. This is the exterior pieces. Here is your interior pieces that are made with a waterproof canvas or water resistant canvas. So when you get the cut and sew, this is what it'll look like. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like with another version of everything already cut out. So this is the Artemis version, and I already have it cut. We're going to go through some of the pieces and the steps and just kind of break it down. So this is what you'll use for your D-ring connectors. You'll slip a D-ring on, and then you'll just fold it to stitch it on. So you have 4 of these. Here is 2 D-ring connectors. Here is the backpack loop. This is the name. This is your bottom gusset pieces, and these 2 long pieces are your zipper panels. And you're having an exterior and lining for those pieces. You have 2 options for your zipper overlay. I'm going to use this one just because it's a little bit cuter. You have your slip pocket for the back piece, both the exterior and the lining. And then you have your 4 main pieces. So 2 exterior, 2 lining pieces. And then you have a pocket piece. These are the pieces we need to make this pattern. I'm going to go off camera, cut out these, and get everything prepped. Since I have several heartbreak tutorials on my channel, I'm not going to have a very in-depth tutorial. I'm going to keep this one kind of quick. So this is going to be a quick run through. If you want a really in-depth one, you can watch some of my other ones. I will link some of my more full tutorials in my description. So first thing I have my slip pocket for the back pocket piece. I have the exterior and lining clipped right sides together. When you get this pattern piece, you're going to notice kind of like a sharp point here. You start sewing there and go all the way around, and then stop sewing on the other side of that kind of little point spot. That's the area you sew. Then you're going to make clips, little teeny snips all along here within the seam allowance, and then flip this so that they are wrong sides together, top stitch, and then add it to the back panel. On the zipper gusset piece, so we have 1 lining zipper gusset, 1 exterior zipper gusset. I have these clipped right sides together, and I have a zipper sandwiched in between. That zipper is right sides together with my exterior. This is a traditional zipper sandwich. We only have 1 set of zipper panels. The other side of the zipper will attach to the main panel. On this piece, on your exterior, if you're going to do a crossbody, which I am, you have to attach your connectors. You could go ahead and attach your connectors now, but I don't want to. I want to wait till the very end to attach my connectors, so that's what I'll do with mine. Just note that the pattern does tell you to go ahead and attach them now and get those steps taken care of. You have 2 different measurements, 1 for the left side, 1 for the right side, as to where you attach those D-ring connectors for a crossbody bag. If you don't want the crossbody option, then you will just follow the instructions for the backpack. I will show you those too, but just know you can have both or one or the other. Let's go ahead and start sewing. We are going to start with this zipper gusset piece, and I'm just going to sew with that seam allowance in the pattern. I have everything clipped and back stitching when I start and stop. After I do this, I will immediately sew my slip pocket. After I sewed the slip pocket together, I went ahead and flipped it. I did snip all along that curve to get a nice smooth curve, and then I flipped it so the wrong sides were together. Now I'm going to top stitch along here, and then I'll just add it to the back to baste it in place. Let's talk about this zipper panel piece. Like I said, I'm doing the crossbody version. That means I do have to add the connectors on each side of this piece. Technically, I need to do that before I top stitch this close, but I don't want to. I want to sew that through both layers. Will that mean that you'll see the stitches on the back of my lining piece? Yeah, it will. I don't care about that. I want it just a little bit stronger, a little bit more secure. That's what I'm doing. Not saying you have to. You get to choose on it. Just note that if you don't want your stitches to show on the back, go ahead and add yours if you haven't already before you top stitch it down. But this is the way I'm doing it. So I'm going to top stitch and baste this edge close. I have the slip pocket attached to the back panel. It's done, so I want to set this aside. I have the zipper gusset ready, and I have a small mark on each side as to where that D-ring connector goes. What you do is you measure it out, and then this spot right here, this flat spot, is what's going to sit on that line or that dot or that marking that you made. It's going to be centered on there, and then I'm just going to sew it around. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of glue, not so much to hold it in place, but just to keep it from shifting whenever I'm sewing around there. The way I got my D-ring connector to work is I just folded it like this, slipped on a 1-inch D-ring, and then I added a little bit of glue to secure it in place. Now the designer does tell us that if we wanted to do a faux row of top stitching along this flat straight portion here, we could, but I didn't really feel like it needed it. I don't feel like it looks bad, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew all the way around this perimeter. If you wanted, you could put a rivet in the middle, but I don't want to detract from the design, so I'm not doing that. So I'm going to sew this on this side, and then I'll repeat with this other one on the other side to have my connectors attached. I have the crossbody connectors attached. That's how I'm going to carry this bag, but let's talk about if you wanted to make this in a backpack. But if you want to use a backpack, you're going to pull out these pieces. You're going to draw a line down the middle of each of these pieces. For each of them, you would fold the raw edges to the center. On these pieces, you would just, the smaller pieces, you would stop here, top stitch, be done. They would go on the top here, the placements in the pattern. That's for the connectors for the backpack. For this bottom piece, for the loop, you would have to fold both of this in just like this. And then you would top stitch down just like the other ones would, but then you would have to make a connection. And mine's going to be sloppy because I'm not sewing it and doing it properly. I'm just kind of rough showing you this. You would make that connection, and you would have to rivet it down so that it would be attached, but the loops could still go through there. I'm just doing the connectors for the crossbody, so I'm leaving mine like that, but I did want to show how that would work out otherwise. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to finish up this gusset piece. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your zipper pulls on, trim down your zipper tape, and then you're going to take out these two pieces. The way we're going to do this is we are going to place the exterior right sides together with the exterior, the lining right sides together with the lining, and then we're just going to sew across that short edge with the seam allowance given the pattern. You'll make sure it's lining up on the sides and across the top. After you have those two pieces sewn together, let's flip them to where they're wrong sides together, pull them apart nicely, and let's go ahead and top stitch. Now we're going to take the free edge of the exterior, pull it all the way down, and clip it into place with the free edge or the unsewn edge of the exterior that's connected to the zipper. You're going to do the same thing to the lining. So the lining piece has to go here, which is going to be a little tricky. Like I've said in my other videos, you can either roll it up really tight, but what I do is I just roll it up enough to where I can get it to get close, and then I'll push that out to the side and flip it up. It's not the best way. You know, you'll have to have a little bit of pressure on it because it could slip, but this is the way I just find it easier to sew. However you like to do it is perfectly fine, as long as you have the exteriors together, linings together. Now I sew again with the same seam allowance. Just push that out so that it is sitting the right way. And now what you're going to do is straighten it out really nice, and you are going to baste down one side, top stitch across this bottom, baste up to the other side, and this gusset then is ready to be attached to your main panels once you have them ready to go. Your gusset is ready. Let's go ahead and finish up those main panels so we can attach everything all together and finish up the back. I'm going to go ahead and finish up my back piece. To the lining, I'm not going to add anything. If you wanted to, you could add a slip pocket, a zipper pocket, whatever. To the front, I am going to add a zipper pocket, but for the back, I'm just going to attach this, just baste it into place. So I'm putting them wrong sides together, and I'm going to sew around. So let's sew 1/8 of an inch all the way around to connect these two pieces. If you wanted, you could go ahead and attach the gusset to the back, but I'm going to wait because I like to do the first on the front, so that perfect sew on the front, because the back, the second sew, is always a little trickier. This is going to be the back piece. It's done, it's completed, so we are going to go ahead and set it aside. We have one lining piece left, and I'm going to use the template overlay, so that zipper overlay piece, to make a really nice pocket, and I'm going to do a zipper pocket. The first thing I'm going to do to make this zipper pocket is I'm going to sew all the way around the exterior piece. Now I'm actually going to sew across here and then come down and attach that part. Doesn't really matter too much, but that's what I'm going to do. So you'll see me sew all the way around the exterior of this overlay piece. I'm actually going to get my threads long so I can just pull those threads back, since this will kind of be a piece that will have some attention and focus on it. After you sew the template onto the lining panel, you are going to cut out this interior part so that our zipper can be showing through. So we've sewed all the way around the exterior. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this in half just so I can get a cut started. Then I'm going to come to the back, and I'm just going to go about 1/4 of an inch away from my stitches. I'm going to be careful that I'm not cutting the template. So make sure you get your scissors in between that area, and then just go slow. If you feel any resistance, you would be knowing that you are cutting that vinyl, and you need to stop and correct. Now that you have that opening, you're ready to attach the zipper. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the zipper, and I'm going to pull out those two lining panel pieces. Now you can make a slip pocket with these pieces if you wanted, or you can make a zipper pocket. I'm going to choose to do the zipper pocket, but it'll make a super cute slip pocket too. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to have one of these lining pieces right sides up. I'm just going to center my zipper on top. My zipper tape is bigger than this piece by design. I want to have it bigger so that I have plenty of room to add on my zipper pull at the end. And at this point, I'm going to sew with that full seam allowance to get this attached. Once you get that first side attached, go ahead and take your zipper, flip it back, and let's press this flat. And let's go ahead and tack down the zipper. This is an unnecessary step, but I just feel like it makes the construction so much easier on the next step. Let's go ahead and repeat those same things with this other side. Lining right sides up, zipper tape right sides up, and now we have to make sure that we match the sides of this lining piece as well as that top edge, just so everything is nice and even. And then go ahead once again, sew with the full seam allowance, then flip it back and do 1/8 of an inch top stitch, tacking down the zipper tape. Now that we have the zipper ready to go, we're just going to simply take that lining piece and slip it on top. And we want the zipper teeth, of course, to be centered in the middle. I'm not trimming anything up yet. I'll trim that up later. I'm doing this a little bit different than the pattern does. Definitely do it however you want. But I'm going to leave my zipper pocket completely open. I'm going to top stitch around the entire perimeter of the inside of the zipper template now, the overlay. and then I'll close everything up. I'm going to go ahead and pull my threads along because I don't want to back stitch on this step. I just want to be able to tie my threads off to the back. Now that we have that zipper attached, this is the front, here's the back. We're simply going to fold it down. And the way I do mine, I will lose some of the size off here, but really it's not going to be that much because we would want to trim off some anyway. So really we're just going to lose a little bit here because we're trimming on the sides. Anyway, what I want to do is I'm going to flip this over now. And since I know I'm binding this back, I'm not leaving an opening. I'm going to stitch all the way around. I'm going to stitch as close as I can to that zipper overlay just so I can have it really nice and secure here, and that I can trim everything off and I have no risk of anything being in the seam allowance. I'm also going to kind of angle my stitches in to kind of follow that heart shape because I know I'm going to trim there as well. Now that we've got this sewn on, I'm just going to trim all around the edges here and have this all cleared up, and your zipper pocket's done. We are going to attach this to that front piece just like we did the back pieces, and then we're ready to clip on the gusset. I'm going to clip on the gusset and then I'll come back and talk about it, but I would do the clipping part off camera just because it's kind of hard for me to clip on camera, and then we'll go through how we did it and the best steps going forward to sew it all up. We are down to the last few steps with making this bag, but these are the trickiest steps. So what we have right now is this is the front, and we have the gusset clip to it. Now the way we do it is we find our middle on the gusset top and bottom, and we do the same for that panel. Start your clips there and slowly ease around to get everything. It might not fit perfectly, but you can ease it in and you'll get a great fit that way. What I do next is I start sewing right here, right before I get to that curve. This is where I start sewing to kind of get around those curves to get everything stabilized. This is your trickiest spot. If you don't get your dip here really nicely, it doesn't even really look like a heart. So I do that first and then I go all the way around. If you're nervous about these curves, you can staple, use hemostats, glue, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. Also, what I do is I do this first step going all the way around with just 1/8 of an inch, just to stabilize. I don't worry about coming in with that full seam allowance because I just want to get everything attached. When I bind, that's when I come in with that full seam allowance. So I just go around to catch everything, then come in with the full seam allowance binding. That's the front done. I repeat those same steps for the back, and then we turn it. As far as my strap goes, I'm just going to use webbing and make a basic strap, so I'm not going to show that on camera. If you have any questions about that, let me know. But I'm going to sew around this part first with the basting stitch, then I'll do the binding, the other side, all that off camera, because it's the same steps over and over, just with a different seam allowance. So first thing I do, I'm going to smash down here, slip that under my needle. I'm not going to take any clips out until I get to that point. This is a process that's really slow. You don't rush it, because if you rush it, you're going to lose that curve that you really want. After you get that first side of the gusset, that basting stitch done, go ahead and look and see if everything looks okay. You can even poke it out if you wanted to, like push this exterior out and check everything that way. I feel pretty good. So now what my next step will be is to just wrap binding around this raw edge and then sew it in place. Honestly, just so you know, this cut and sew is all raw edge material. You could definitely go back around with your full seam allowance and just trim off your basting stitch and you would be fine. There really wouldn't be much fraying. It just wouldn't look as cute. So in a pinch you could do that, but I will bind mine just for the looks of it all and everything. But that is an option if you're really struggling with this pattern and the curve is really hard for you. And so when I come back, you'll see everything bound together, and then we'll just turn it out and look at it. I have my Heartbreaker bag sewn all together, both sides, bound on both sides. Everything is ready to be turned around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take the time to turn it right sides out off camera, and when I come back I'll show you this version of the Artemis, but I'm also going to show you the Luna. I am sewing it up as well right along with this one. I finished both of my cut and sews. This cut and sew is from K.A. Custom Fabrics. The pattern is the Heartbreaker convertible bag, and it is from K.Azcona Designs. Like I said, I have a full tutorial on this pattern. This was just a fun, quick version, just kind of showing you how it comes together in an easy way. Super cute design. These are adorable. You can make these as a crossbody, which is what I did, or you can make them as a backpack. You do have to, I didn't make the strap on camera. I'll just use some basic webbing to make just a regular crossbody strap, and these are super cute and fun. They're available for pre-order now. I'll have the link to the cut and sew. I'll also have the link for the pattern and my full tutorial on this version. If you have any questions or anything about this tutorial or pattern, just let me know. Anyway, I hope today you have something fun and cute to sew up in your sewing room, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for watching.